Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'd like to call the regular meeting of Sumter County Council for Tuesday, January 24th to order. Let us please stand for the invocation, remain standing for the pledge of allegiance.
Let us pray. Gracious God, all loving, all knowing, and all providing, thank you for all that you've already done today. Lord, please clear our minds and thoughts from things that we don't need to think about and things that we do need to think about. Give us the right thoughts and guide us through this meeting. And bless all the citizens that are here today. Keep them and protect them as they go back to their homes. And give council members just the things they need to be able to provide for each and every one of them if they can. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. This evening we'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by U.S. Navy veteran David Trask, who served our country from April 1981 to September 1995. He's a Gulf War service veteran that supported Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield. He currently lives in County Council District Number 7. Thank you for your service, Mr. Trask. No, Mr. Trask. I guess I'll use him. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Bland, before we approve the agenda, I'd like to make a change. The audit report, I'd like to move up the agenda to right after we approve the minutes. And then there's also some recognition at that point as well.
Yes, sir.
Have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Moved and properly seconded that we approve the agenda with two changes that are noted. Any discussion? Hearing none, please say aye.
Aye.
Have a motion to approve our minutes from our regular meeting for Tuesday, January 10th.
Approval. Second.
Been moved and properly seconded that we approve the minutes from January 10th. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I see Erica Williams in the audience. At least I saw her. There she is. That means that we've got some leaders, some youth leaders that are probably in attendance, because where she goes, they go. So, Ms. Erica, if you would come forward and introduce our emerging leaders, please.
Thank you. Now for the 411 crowd. Good evening, Chairman McCain and council members. I am Erica Williams with the Sumter Economic Development and the Link Economic Development Alliance, and I am excited to have 7 students who are involved in the 5th class of the Emerging Leaders Program for the good of the council in its entirety and also the citizenry who are here. Emerging Leaders is a leadership program for high school juniors. And throughout the program, there are 9 sessions monthly. The month of January was local government, so we had an opportunity to meet with the county administrator and city manager and learn about budgeting, finance, and things of that nature, in and out, and with local government and dealing. So we just came this evening to observe the process. During the senior year, these students sit on boards and councils throughout the community. We so often say that we are building programs and things of that nature for our youth, and we need to make sure that we are equipping them with the proper tools so that they can sit at the table and make informed decisions. The Emerging Leaders Program, we have students from all 3 Sumter High Schools, Lee Central High School, Thomas Sumter Academy, and Lee Academy this year. And I'll ask if these students who are in attendance this evening will stand. So once again, we're simply here to observe the process, and we will ask at the end of the session if we can be so kind as to have your photos. We would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. At this time, Mr. Grant Davis from our audit firm, Mr. Mixon,
Yes, sir. Council and members of the audience, we have with us tonight Grant Davis from Malden Jenkins CPA, who will provide information regarding the county's annual audit report. We do this annually. It's done externally. This is on last year's budget, but more detailed information was shared with council in a previous committee meeting, but he will go through it for the members of the audience tonight in a little bit briefer fashion, but please note that council has already had a significant report given earlier this evening. Right?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of council, for having me here tonight to go over the county's fiscal year 2022 audited financial statements. Like we discussed earlier, ultimately we've issued 3 documents as a part of the process. The first and longest is the county's audited financial statements themselves. We've issued an unmodified opinion on those financial statements, which is really the only acceptable result of the financial statement audit. So a clean report is what that means. We've also issued a document we call our auditor's discussion and analysis that includes a variety of things, but most importantly some required communications that we have to have with you all. Things like we're independent of Sumter County. We didn't have any disagreements with management in conducting the audit. We didn't have any uncorrected misstatements, things of that nature, and those are all memorialized in our auditor's discussion and analysis document. The third is an element of recommendations for improvement for 2 minor matters that we discussed at the previous meeting. But with that, I'm going to try to, from memory, talk to you all about a few things that we talked about at the meeting prior. The general fund, certainly of primary concern for any county, reports about $46 million in total assets versus about $20 million in liabilities. Those liabilities are primarily made up of what we call unearned revenues as a result of the state and local fiscal recovery funds that have not been spent by the county. This gives the county fund balance of about $22 million. About 19 of that is unassigned. If you take that 19 unassigned as a percentage of the general fund's expenditures, it gives you about 35% of fund balance to expenditures, and that equates to about 4 months of fund balance on hand at June 30th. Beyond that, we have also conducted an audit on the county's expenditure of federal awards. There are a variety of programs that the county receives federal awards under, but the most significant this year was the State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund to the tune of about $6 million versus total federal spending of about 7. So we audited 6 out of 7. The requirement is that we audit 40% of that total. We audited significantly more with that program than is actually required. That was also a clean report. We didn't have any findings that are considered internal control deficiencies or instances of noncompliance through the conduct of that audit. We did have one element of an internal control item to communicate to you all relative to the Sumter County Library's financial statement audit that should be addressed in the future without issue. Any questions or thoughts?
Thank you, Mr. Davis. I appreciate it. I just want to thank Mr. Mixon, our county administrator, and our staff who helped with the audit. Again, it's good to hear that we got a clean audit, except for that one finding, which was the county library, which really wasn't. So thank you, Mr. Mixon. Ms. Beth, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Davis. Okay. Land use matters, RZ 2213, Ms. Ruby.
Okay. RZ 2213 is a request at 1700 Peach Orchard Road. The applicant is Gail Langen as the property owner. This is a request to rezone a 0.22 acre portion of a larger property from agricultural conservation to general commercial. This is the property in and of itself. It's a little bit over 9/10 of an acre. Only a small portion of this property is not currently zoned general commercial. The request to rezone the 0.22 acres is to bring the entire property into the same zoning district with the intent to develop it at some point in the near future as a garden center and nursery facility. As you can see, and it might be a little bit hard for you guys on your monitors, but on this big screen, you have a really small sliver On the northwest side of that tract that's showing green, the rest of it's red. The red represents the general commercial zoning district. That little sliver of green represents the agricultural conservation district. The request is to actually make the whole property red so that it can be developed all under one zoning district standard. This is the property as it stands today. It's actually fairly heavily buffered on the property lines that are not road frontages, and this is how it looks. When we look at rezoning requests, we look at what the comprehensive land use plan has the property designated as. In this case, the 2040 land use plan has this property classified as part of the military protection planning area. This area is intended to protect Shire Force Base and Point Set Electronic Combat Range from incompatible land uses. By and large, a rezoning of a property from agricultural zoning to general commercial is supported by the 2040 plan. Planning Commission does recommend approval of this request. Although the property is adjacent to agricultural conservation zoning, the future corridor itself is a commercial strip and has been historically developed that way. It is in the vicinity of some lightly developed mixed residential and commercial uses. And if it is approved, it'll bring that whole property to the same zoning district. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. We also do have the applicant here to speak on behalf of the request.
Questions? Thank you, Jerry.
Does staff have a position on this project?
We actually think that this makes sense to rezone it to one zoning designation. We're not complete fans of the strip zoning that's happened throughout the county on our main corridors. It actually makes developing the property more logical, and it gives us a little bit more teeth when we look at how to buffer against adjacent uses without all being in a commercial designation.
Thank you, Ms. Rubin.
You're welcome.
Prior to council making second reading on RZ 2213, we'll have a public hearing. I now declare the public hearing now open. Anyone wishing to speak against rezoning request number 2213, please proceed to the podium. State your name for the record. Hearing none. Public is closed.
Move approval, second reading. Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we approve second reading for RZ 2213. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed. Second reading, RZ 2213 is passed. Under new business, we need to approve as a council the standing committee appointments. They remain the same as they were last year. Move for approval. It's been moved and properly seconded that we approve the standing committees for 23-24. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed. Ordinance number 22983, third reading.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, this is an ordinance to approve the contract which is attached to the ordinance and addendum. This is the development of the mental health center on Magnolia Street. There's been no changes since second reading in public hearing.
Move approval, third reading. Been moved and properly seconded that we have third reading on ordinance number 22983. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Committee reports. We did have a special meeting on the audit. And we heard the report. Council got that same report during our special meeting. Report from council members on any other meetings, trainings, and our conferences.
Sure.
Mr. Washington.
Just a couple of things. I think, make sure I'm on here. I think each council member has on their desk some correspondence from Miss Yvonne China, who is a resident of District 1. Audience can look on the screen. That is a picture of trash that was dumped on Scotts Branch Road. It is not the first time that this has happened And it seems to be increasing, not only in District 1, but across the county. And I thought it was important to share this with council, because this clearly requires that we take some immediate action on addressing this. I know that we have a litter committee, and I know that we've been hosting meetings and asking communities to have litter pop parties, but this is a basic service that council is gonna have to get its arms around. And a couple of things need to happen. The first thing that needs to happen is that we need to dedicate a pot of money to clean up the litter. It makes no sense for the county to bush hog roads and create more litter by cutting the grass and spreading the litter around. And that is what is happening. And if we're talking about Team Sumter, if we're talking about encouraging economic development, if we want people to stay in Sumter, if we want Shaw Air Force Base personnel to live in Sumter and not Columbia, this is a top priority. Now, I'll be calling a public safety committee meeting at our next council meeting, and I plan to take this up. And I'm going to ask all of you to think about this, because I want to come out of the Public Safety Committee with some resolution. And I specifically want a funding line for trash cleanup. Now, all of it is not going to be related to the county, because all of it isn't on county roads. There are a number of state roads, and of course they have responsibility for state roads. In my district alone, there are 137 state roads in District 1 alone, just District 1. But there are county roads where this is going on as well. And so I want to alert you to this. I want you to prepare yourself for the public safety meeting, which will be held 2 weeks from now. And I want to come out of there with a commitment to begin addressing this issue. The second thing that I want to bring to council's attention is some correspondence that I got from Mr. Joseph Taylor Jr. He is a landowner at 435 Tampa Gold Road. He is currently in Detroit and unable to be with us tonight, but reached out to me and had long conversation. And I think some of the folks from Tampa Gold are here tonight, and we'll be hearing from them. He says that the road that he lives on, which several residents live on, is so bad that just last week, the mail lane got bogged down. And the residents had to get together to pull the mail lane out of the bog. Now, these are the conditions that some of our residents are living in. And granted, they're on private roads, but if there are a number of residents living on private roads, and the residents are elderly, and the residents have health problems, and the residents have children living on the road, and the road is in this condition, then to me, this is a public issue. It's no longer a private road issue. It's a public issue, and it is our responsibility to address it. And this council has to do more than just saying no. Once again, this is an issue I plan to take up in 2 weeks during the Public Safety Committee meeting, because it is a public safety issue. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much
Quick question
for my time.
I
Mr. Chairman, can I accept questions?
I saw the thing up there you had. It had an address and a name.
Yes.
Did they go to that person and find them?
I would not ask any of my constituents to do that.
No, I think
Or
the
the sheriff. The sheriff is involved.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Because if you
sure.
got a name, I mean,
Yes. the
we don't
sheriff
start finding people, they're not going, they'll keep doing it.
We need to do more than 5. We need to put them in the newspaper. We need to
I
put them
agree.
on billboards.
We
We need to put them in jail. And that's the only way we're gonna address this problem. And we need to dedicate a source of funding to do cleanup and enforcement. Mr. Chairman, if there are no more questions to me, thank you very much for the time.
Mr. Chairman, I have a comment I'd like to make. I had the pleasure, along with my colleague, Councilman Carter Washington, to attend the annual Martin Luther King birthday program sponsored by the Sumter branch NAACP on Monday, January 16th at Trinity United Methodist Church. This was a well-attended program, and I was happy to see our president of the NAACP chapter to come in here tonight. And because at that program, she made a couple of comments which was very important in letting us know just where we stand today when it comes to voting rights. A lot of people think there's no problem with people having access to voting, but there is a serious problem. There's a lot of voter suppression, and also there's redrawing of district lines for voting. And we found out that one of our U.S. congressional districts, District 1, along the coast, Charleston area, was intentionally drawn to draw out black people. Intentionally drawn to draw out black people to reduce their power to vote and select candidates of their choice, which made it more favorable for a Republican candidate to be elected. Now, this is what we're still going through today. And I just want people to be aware that this is not over. And if we sit back and allow this to happen and not address it, both black and white people, we should address it. Because we should all be fair in what goes on when a person has a right to vote and that right is being tampered with. So, Madam President also shared a comment about the poverty level of people and about young kids not having food to eat. And they were saying, and they did a commercial on that, where they were happy to go to school in the morning because they was going there and they could get something to eat. Again, we need to understand that Sumter County has a high poverty percent, 20.5%. This is higher than the national average by about 5%. It's higher than the state average, about 4%, which really means that we have in Sumter County about 22,000 people of our citizens that live in poverty. And we should be aware of that. Because when we think everything is equal, everybody is living that dream life, everybody has everything, that's not true. So again, poverty is something that we all should be concerned about and how we can address those issues. So I'll be looking forward to dealing with that because I feel that every one of us should be able to live the American dream. And if we're not living it, we got a problem. And if I'm living it and my neighbor's not living it, then really I'm not living the dream. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else? Monthly reports, Ms. Brandon?
Council members, in your packet, you should have the building code monthly report, public works monthly report, and the sheriff's office monthly report, including the planning department. The planning department will have a meeting tomorrow at 3:00 p.m. and the information on that is in this packet. There's also a citizen participation form that I gave each one of you, and the COG did reschedule a citizen meeting on Thursday, February 23rd at 6:00 p.m. And that one, and it says it's Santee Lynch's Regional Council of Government on behalf of Sumter County will hold a public hearing in the Louise Brown Room, Recreation and Parks, 230 Purdy Street, Sumter, South Carolina. And I have some extra copies of this and can get more copies to each of you if you'd like. And it's the community anticipating participation in the State of South Carolina Community Development Block Grant. And with me having these copies, I can put them up here and the citizens can receive them. And if you all would like to have additional copies for your area, but the meeting has been scheduled for 230 Purdy Street, Sumter, on February 23rd at 6:00 p.m.
Mr. Chairman, if we could just make sure we clarify that this meeting is for residents throughout Sumter County, which would include city residents, rural residents that have an issue and want to propose something to be funded through the CDBG grant. Is that correct, Ms. Bland?
Yes, sir. I just didn't read the whole thing.
Okay, I just wanted everyone to
But it is
understand.
the home-funded projects.
Thank you, Ms. Bland.
And that's it.
Mr. Mixon, County Administrator's report.
Mr. Chair, just a follow-up, I wanted to inform council that we have already scheduled at the Public Works Committee meeting on the 14th, which would be council's next meeting, a very thorough report by Mr. Mike McCoy, who is the county litter officer, along with Ms. Hyatt, who's the Public Works Director, to come and demonstrate some of the programs that are currently in place and some strategies moving forward as an introductory of some further conversation along with council members on how we move that program along. Also wanted to let council know that just as recent as yesterday morning, we had 2 citizens that were charged in violation of litter. One was actually arrested at their home one evening because of something very similar you found, like you said, after extensive investigation by Mr. McCoy, along with officers in the Sheriff's Department. They were able to identify who the person was, went to the house, made an arrest, so they actually spent a night or 2 in jail because of a litter violation. Along with that, there was another case, so both of those were in court yesterday. And what the judge ended up finding each one of the individuals, as well as they had a reduced fine of a couple $100 if they also have community cleanup service days along with it. So again, that's the court systems trying to work with us to make sure that we send the message that this is unacceptable in our community. There were also some other minor charges along with the litter violations as well. So you'll hear all this at our next council meeting. This is an ongoing effort, but certainly, again, it all comes down to the resources that are available to us. It is a tremendous problem in our community. It's all over the place. It's unacceptable, and we've got to come up with some sound strategies to hopefully turn the curve on this litter effort in our community. And I am aware that Mr. McCoy has reached out to Ms. China, and I believe they have a meeting tomorrow. So he's gonna follow up with that investigation, make sure we do the right thing with that as well. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Chairman, I'm hopeful that the item will begin publishing those incidences when folks are being prosecuted for litter. I would really appreciate pictures and names and addresses because it's going to encourage other folks to think twice before they do that. And that's the only way we're going to be able to clean up our community. So I just want to encourage our very good item reporter who covers us well. And we got your back on that. So thank you in advance. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Mixon.
Yes, sir.
Come now to the public comment portion of our agenda. Citizens desiring to speak are limited to no more than 3 minutes. Comments are made through the chair. I now declare the public comment portion of our meeting open. Anyone wishing to speak to council, please proceed to the podium. State your name for the record.
I am Bill Lyon with American Legion Post 15. I'm the first vice commander of our post, and I gave all of you an invitation. In February of every year, we honor and recognize our public service people, the police officer of the year, the sheriff deputy of the year, fireman of the year, EMT, and detention center. And some of these people work for the county. So I give you all an invitation to it. You have my personal invitation for the meeting on Monday, January 6th at 6:30.
February 6th.
February 6th.
Yes.
And you can bring your significant other or girlfriend, whichever one, just don't bring both. And follow Mr. Washington on this litter. Litter is a problem all over the county. It's not just in one section. If you follow these garbage trucks just going to Bishopville and to the landfill over there, you follow them, you see these things just flying off these garbage trucks all the time. People have no respect for their county, for the property, for anything. That's your biggest problem, is there's no respect for the county. They do not care. I pick up garbage where I live out there, side the road, every week. I live out on 15 next to White's Mill out there, and it's everywhere. It is a problem, and I'm sure Gary's do whatever he can to address it. Thank you, and I thank y'all for all y'all do for the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lyon.
My name is Daisy Bradley, and I am a resident on Tampa Gold Road. Want to say good evening to all of you. Want to say thank you for allowing us as a community to come tonight to talk about the issues of the road. Our Councilman Washington, thank you for your concern. Thank you for looking out for us, and he already spoke with one of our residents on this road. But I just want to say that we need your help. And that's why we're here tonight. If we have to plead, if we have to beg, we need your help. Tampa Gold Road is a road that once was just potholes, but it's not potholes anymore. They're ditches. And then it has a highway. Like they said, Short Apple's base is expanding. And we have a lot of big trucks coming on that road. And we can hardly get off the road because of the potholes on our road safely. And as he mentioned, our elderly people, we have people that have the ambulance come back there, home help come back there, the fire truck, the policemen. All of these people are traveling our road for the help of our residents. And just today, God allowed me to sit in my car and I watched one of our residents, which live out there, that's confined to bed. Transportation came to pick her up. She cannot walk. And I looked and I was behind them, how long it took them to dodge this hole to get to the end of the road to take her to the hospital. So we're asking that you all do something to help us. Even myself, this close to death, I was trying to go into our road, big old pothole right down the road. This long distance truck was coming behind me, and because I couldn't get onto the road quick enough, that truck did everything he could to stop from hitting me, and that could have been a tragedy. So we ask that you don't wait till this happens. Don't wait to see this on the TV or the news to help us. We're crying out for help tonight, and I appreciate your help. I appreciate you all allowing us to express our feelings tonight, because it is a deep concern to me when I look in my neighborhood. Think about you. You may have a mother. You may have a sister or a brother. How would you feel if something like that's going on in the neighborhood and no one is trying to help? We all are a part of Sumter County. We pay our taxes just like everybody else pays theirs. And I think that you all should definitely look into that in helping the residents on Tampa Gold Road. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bradley.
Good afternoon. Thank you, my councilman. I would like to say this is something that has been needed for a long time.
Ma'am.
We had a meeting at,
State your name, please.
oh, my name is Juanita Britton,
Hey, Ms. Bradley.
unofficial mayor of Rimmer. And this is something that we have been working on for a long time. The last time that 521 was kind of paved a little bit was when they had something on TV that said they were going to charge $45 if you drove in the left lane. So I contacted the DOT and they didn't have any money. So I said, was anything you can do? So what they did, if you all noticed, every time they got extra pavement stuff, asphalt, they put some down. And they kept on, they started from 441 and went way on down past the ball field. Because that's how bad it was. You couldn't drive on the side you should have been on. So we need to get 521. We're going to say this, I've been here 20 some years and we still working on 521. We had money set aside, because that's something I worked on when I came here. They took the money and they put it over on 521 going to Georgetown. Because they said that was growing faster. We got some more money, they took it. So we never got to the place we need to be to really get the road fixed like it should be. Because you have water standing, you have potholes. Today some of the roads were blocked because the water hit rain what the last couple of days. You couldn't even get down some of the roads this morning. So I know some of it is county, some of it is state, but we please, you got Horatio Hazel Road. You ever drove down that recently? The trees are growing up in the road. The limbs, the roots are growing up. You can't even go down, and it's only about maybe 2 or 3 miles. But it is the worst road I think in Rimmer. 521 is bad. There's no place to pull over. We have so many accidents between Days Road and now the Spring Hill Road. And there's nowhere to pull over. Right in the unincorporated town. I mean, they hit the telephone poles. They're in the store yard. We need help. And not just a promise. And the trash too. We pick up trash. We need to do something about that trash. We need to do something. They came by and they kind of scraped on the edge of the road. They kind of let the water go by. But they didn't even go straight. They kind of went in and out. In and out. That's not going to help us. I don't want to take up everybody's time, but we need help. That's the bottom line. We need help. We have someone that's working with us, our representative to Washington. We appreciate it, but y'all need something in y'all community, I'm sure. Let's do all of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Britton.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Mr. Martin. I also live on Chapel Gold Road. And a lot of our issues today is the ditches in the road. I don't want to call them potholes, like Ms. Bradley said, they're ditches. We have a lot of trash. And I also have a father and a daughter live on that road. And God forbid, furthermore, he had an accident and he do weigh a life alert. And if they didn't get there 5 minutes earlier, you know, it could be tragic. So I'm asking you guys to take a look, even just getting your car right down there some days and just check it out for yourself before you make a decision, because we really do need it. I already took 2 cars. My daughter tore off the muffler off her car from hitting a pothole so deep. It's right now in the shop, and I told her maybe next time she'll slow down. But we ask that you come out and check it out and keep us in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie China, and my parents live on Scott Springs Road. So the pictures that you saw earlier in the meeting is from my parents' actual road. So first, I would like to thank Mr. Nixon and Councilman Washington for helping me with that situation of the litter that we saw, and we actually got it resolved today. So I actually spoke to Lieutenant McCoy today. So good evening. First, let me say thank you for your time, taking your time out of your busy schedule to discuss several issues impacting the livability, welfare, and health of the community. The most concerning issue is the litter and debris throughout the rural county roads and also the state roads. I was born and raised in this area and has never seen the amount of trash and debris, in some cases dead animals, in our areas, which is not only concerning but disappointing. I am a 26-year Air Force veteran who moved back home for several months to spend time with my family, and during my time here I have picked up trash on my road, which is what you saw. That was Saturday actually, which is a county dirt road, no less than 5 times. I have not seen one no littering signs in my community or on some of the state roads, to include 521. Although there is a plan in place to combat this problem, and the Litter Advisory Board have made strides to further the litter prevention in the city, in my 5 months of being back home, I have not seen one scheduled community cleanup event. The Great American Cleanup campaign that was launched in April of 2022 seemed to bypass the rural areas. We don't have a litter problem, we have a people problem. Education and accountability for breaking the law is necessary, and to beautify our community, it is a partnership with everyone in this room and beyond. We as a community must work together to eradicate this issue plaguing our homes, our children's bus stops, and our businesses. The area directly outside of our doorstep is not just our responsibility. It is the yards, it is the feet, and it is the miles that is our responsibility. And we will fix this problem if we work together, and the representatives appointed by the voters work and advocate for us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
My name is Jackie Hughes, and I live in Sumter County. I wasn't going to talk about this tonight, but I think about it a lot and plan to in the future. But every time I leave home, I live mainly, I go down Lewis Road, and I've seen them pick up litter every 2 months, I think it is. But before they can get the bags of litter that were picked up, say on Saturday, and they come like on Tuesday or Wednesday to pick up the garbage, there's more garbage out there. And I know that we have a litter program, and we've spent lots of money to clean up Sumter County, including that machine that's supposed to go out that costs a lot of money. It doesn't really, to me, appear to be working, our litter program. I told you about Lewis Road, but Kingsbury is another route that I take, and I don't think that's ever been cleaned up. So I agree with Mr. Washington. I saw when you were showing the photos a while ago, I saw 2 names. I think that one thing should be added to their prosecution, and Mr. Washington mentioned it, some of it, but then Mr. Mixon also said it, and they should be required to participate in the program. And then maybe they'll take it a little bit more serious, plus go to find, and because it's just getting worse and worse. It's like nothing's really happening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes.
Hello, my name is Cassandra Lang, and I'm also a resident of Tampaville Road, and I'm a nurse that lives on the road. And I just wanted to add, you know, like Ms. Bradley said, we really need assistance with our road. We have been struggling for a very long time. We have spent a lot of money out of our pockets to try to get the roads scraped. It never lasts. we at one point spent a couple of thousands of dollars to get this company to come in and lay some, it wasn't concrete, but some of the rock things or whatever. And we thought that was going to be the resolution of the issues, but however, it has not been. And I'm sure, you know, Mr. Washington spoke with Mr. Taylor, and there is, you know, like some conflict now going on because of the fact that some people can't get to their homes and they're having to cross over onto other people's properties. And this is really, you know, beginning to cause some conflict. I mean, that has always been, even since Bible days, you know, when when people get into conflicts over, you know, right-of-ways and things of that nature. I just wanted you all to know that we on Tampa Road have not been sitting idly by. I can say my father, Freddie Lane, and my mother, and Mr. Taylor, and all of us have like kind of exhausted efforts because financially we paid to get the road, you know, straight, but it's just to a point of, like they say, you know, we need more assistance. And the litter is a problem. I have wrote in and called in, and me and my sister have gone out and pick up litter, like on the road, you know, people take for granted. I have the cameras installed at my home, and I'm like, wow, I need to point them that way, you know, so possibly. I even thought about maybe getting some of the other type of hunting cameras or something to try to catch some people littering. I mean, that's just how desperate I was, you know. So I just wanted you all to know that we weren't sitting idly by. You know, it's just that we've exhausted efforts and everybody has gotten older. So, you know, we just really need some assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lane. Seeing as nobody else, public comment session is closed.
Mr. Chairman, if you would recognize me, I do have a piece of information that I think may be helpful. Ms. Britton, who spoke earlier, who runs our Remnant Area Community Coalition, which is a really good organization that sponsors after-school programs and senior programs. I just wanted her to know that, Ms. Britton, I have scheduled 4 meetings with the Department of Transportation, one on February 8th at Catch-All, one on February 15th at the Delane Community Center, one on February 22nd at the Pinewood Community Center, and there'll be another one in Pisgah Crossroads at the Union Baptist Church, but that date is being worked out, and that is to meet with DOT officials about state roads. So residents will be able to come in, share their complaint, and DOT will be in a position to respond. Once we complete the DOT process, I'm going to come back with Mr. Mixon and Ms. Hyatt and do the same thing with county roads and divide District 1 into 5 areas so we can begin attacking the elephant. And you eat an elephant one bite at a time. So we're breaking it up into 4 to 5 regions. So, and I'll get with you with those dates, and I'll be putting that information out.
Can
The
I
state
say
roads
one thing? The reason I say this is so important, we had a meeting at Rafkin Creek the other week.
Yes, ma'am.
We had over 100 people,
Yes,
and it was not enough time. We
Right.
talked for 2 hours, and everybody didn't get to tell their story.
Right.
So that's how important this is.
That's why I scheduled the additional meetings. Thank you, Ms. Burton. Appreciate you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the time.
Mr. Chairman, before we adjourn, please, I'm really happy that you come here tonight and express your concern. Because this is the only way we're going to get things done, is for you to come up and let us know. And I also want you to know that this is not just District 1 called the Washington problem. This is a county problem. We have private roads in my district. And at one time, we had the money and the funds where we could just assist If someone say they need a road scrape, we was in there with scrape, or we add some dirt to it. We don't have that anymore. But we cannot let the people in this county live in that condition where emergency vehicles cannot even get down there to their house. That's a shame. And it's not Washington's problem, it's our problem. It's county council's problem. And I think it's now the time for us to address this seriously. And Mr. Administrator, we're gonna have to come up with some way to get some money to solve this problem. Because again, that's the American dream, that people are not living. I don't have it, I live on the highway, I don't have that problem. But if you got it, I got it, okay? Thank you.
Anyone else?
Move for adjournment.
Second. We move to proper second that we adjourn.